That's correct. Folks, good evening. Good to see you all after a few days, maybe a week or two. Hope exams have been treating you all well. Alright, so yeah, had some little technical difficulties starting up. Laptops had to reset. Email wasn't going, internet wasn't interneting, all kind of dotishness. Anyhow, we up and running. So I'm gonna start when we stop just now. So you had a little bit of a head start. Alright, so the usual protocol when I'm doing these sessions is that it's just a bit of a walk through the paper, and if you want time to try something, you let me know. Alright, now of course, you know, time is kind of the essence because, I mean, hey, Kiara, yeah, because you'll have plenty of exams going on. So of course, well, maths is but one, you know, but we have to give it its due. And the last exam on top of that was 10% of 10,000. Was 10% of 10,000. And was half of that. Right. And 5% is half of that. 10%, not so? Yeah, guys. So we doing the multiple choice practice for next week. We have a session today. Well, I want to say 6:30 to 8:30, but we know that that's not really the case, unfortunately. But we have some time. I could run through this paper in enough time. So as you all know, you cannot use your calculators in paper 1. Whether we agree with that, like it or not, that's just how it is. So we have to make do. Alright? So with that, you all want a minute and a half again until 7, or you want me to just start and start a go through?
You're not correct. I don't know. I don't know if you're correct for the sentence.
Alright, that's fine.
Just speed. I'm like halfway down to the
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to see if something here could sort out. Okay. Alright. 1B. I see in. You real Ali done jump in. Alright, cool. Enhance effects. For this thing. I don't know if I thought I did. Alright, so there we got another one going here. We'll flick up the wig on that side here too. Alright, so of course those playing the home game, you all could do whatever is visible, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to get my wigs back. I don't know how come they disappear. Maybe it's time for new effects, I don't know. Access stuff. I guess they're not there, unfortunately. Really funny ones. Funny. Where's my wig? Oh, the wig not there anymore? Oh no. Okay. Well, what do you do? Right, anyone has science feel like K-King, is that integrated science you're talking about, or? Yeah, 2021 May, guys. Right, so we are at the 7 o'clock mark. Okay, cool. Well, just give me 1 second. Let me see if Oh, some more wig gone. Gotta find new stuff. That sucks. No, I don't want background, I don't want makeup. I want the vibe, lens, character. Okay, maybe character. Funny. Okay, maybe funny. Hey Pauline, how are you doing? Good to have you on. Give me one sec. Didn't go live for a few days, and next thing I know, settings change, some effects go on, all kind of thing. That's pressure. Do it now, go on. Hey Shirley, no, how you doing? Oh, okay, no, that's not good. Yeah, alright, cool, that goes. Alright guys, let's take a start here. So I'll just zoom in, so we'll go in order of appearance, right? And of course, if anybody has any questions as we go along, please feel free to let me know. Right, so we have minus 3 squared plus minus 2 squared. So when you square something, what are you actually doing? Multiplying it by itself. And when you multiply a negative by a negative, you get back a what? A positive. So minus 3 squared is 9, and minus 2 squared is minus 2 by minus 2, which is positive 4. And 9 plus 4 will give us 13. That's option C. Very good. Right, what percentage of 40 is 8? So we put 8 over 40 and multiply by 100. 8 goes into 8 how many times? 1. 8 into 40 goes 5 times. And now 5 will go into 100 20 times. So 8 is actually 20% of 40. Sorry, give me one sec. You know what I'll do? I'll change this to that. So I can just switch them a little more easily. Okay. Alright. Number 3, 235 by 48.7 is 11,444.5. Alright. Hey Zariah, how you doing? Alright. Timothy, good to see you. Sorry, YouTube on this side. Right, so 23.5 means we're shifting the point. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong things. Did I not? Did I? Right, okay, and this one is right, okay, yeah. So we're shifting the point one space to the left, and then for 48.7, we shifted it 2 spaces to the left. So that's a total of how many spaces? 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So 11.4445 is option A, yeah? Alright, scrolling down. Using the distributive property. So what is the distributive property? Right, or distributive law? If I have 2, open brackets, x plus 3, how do I expand that? 2 by x and then 2 by 3, not so? So here I'm seeing 49 by 17 and 49 by 3. What's the common factor here? 49, right? So what I could do is I could pull out the 49, and what will go in the brackets? The 17 plus the 3. And what's 17 plus 3? 20. So this is 49 by 20. So that's option A. Alright. Item 5. A test was marked out of 80. Boy scored 60%. How many marks did he score? So you could just find 60% of 80. Right? So you can knock off a 0, knock off a 0, knock off a 0, knock off a 0, and 6 by 8 will simply give us 48 marks. Okay, with questions 1 to 5, in-person people, are we okay? Do you have any questions? Anything you want to rework? No? Alright, Liam and Logan, if you guys are good with that, give me a quick G in the chat if you need me to re-explain things. Alright, cool, lovely. Okay, so shall we do 6 to 10 now? Let's go. Alright, so Dan sold 40 concert tickets in 5 days Each day he sold 3 tickets more than the previous day. Right, this question is a very weird question even a multiple choice. Maybe there's a shortcut to working it, but I'm not sure what it is. So he sold how many tickets? 40 tickets. In how many days? 5 days. So if it's okay, let's just take an average. So if we take 40 and divide by 5, that's how many tickets a day? 8. But based on what they told us here, each day he sold 3 tickets more than the previous day, right? So it means he didn't sell the same number of tickets every day. He sold more, right? The number of tickets he sold on the 3rd day. Alright. So check it. This is where you use your algebra. So let day 1. So on day 1, he would have sold how many tickets? Let's just call it X, right? So this is day 1. And this is number of tickets. So on day 2, now it says that he sold 3 tickets more. So if you sold, let's say you sold 5 tickets on the first day, and the second day you sold 3 more, how many is that? Oh, you got that? Add it, not multiply, right? Right. Anytime algebra given you trouble, you want to cross check it, use a simple number to run the working, right? So so the second day will be X plus 3. Okay, on the 3rd day, you would have sold 3 more. So you can put X plus 3 plus 3. But what's the easier way of writing 3 plus 3? 3 plus 3 is 6, right? So put 6 there. So on day 4, you would sell 3 more. So what's 6 plus 3? 9. And on the last day, you would have sold X plus 12, right? Now, how many X's we have in total? How many? 5X, very good. So 5X. And 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 and 9 is 18. 18 and 12 is actually 30. And 5x plus 30 is equal to 40. So check this, right? Some number plus 30 is 40. Think about it. What number plus 30 is 40? 10. So 5x had to be equal to 10, right? And if 5x is 10, that means 5 by some number is 10. 5 by what is 10? 2. So x is 2. Now, obviously you're not seeing a 2 here because that's not the answer. That's just what x is equal to, which is on the first day. What do they want? The number of tickets on the 3rd day. The number on the 3rd day is x plus 6. And 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. Which, interestingly enough, is the same number as the average. Yeah. I'm sure it's quite possible there's a mathematical reason for that. But right. So, again, maybe there's a trick behind this question. If anybody knows it and they wouldn't let me know. Let me know.
I think they just want you to do the 3 by the 5 minus the 40 and then divide that over.
3 by 5?
So multiply the 3 tickets by the 5 days.
That's 15.
Subtract the thing and then you get your wrong answer. So like that might be the trick.
Okay, so 3 by 5 is 15. So,
and then you
right.
divide the 35 of the
15 from 40 is 25. Okay.
Yeah, 25 by the that's the other.
It would be 5.
I know that's the thing.
Yeah, because it's an increasing number every time. Alright, okay, yeah. So some of these questions are a little trickier. Some questions are easier than others, so act accordingly. Okay, sorry. Alright, which of the following sets is defined by? So x is this symbol here means x is an element of integers. Z stands for integers. Integers are whole numbers. Positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, inclusive of 0. So you have here minus 2 is less than equal to x, which is less than equal to 4. Or if you read it from the x, so x is greater than or equal to minus 2, but less than or equal to 4. So if it's greater than or equal to minus 2, you can include minus 2 in the set, then to minus 1, then to 0, then to 1, 2, 3, and finally stopping at 4. Alright, so which option is that? That's option D. Right, now the truth is, since they took sets off of the paper 2, a lot of teachers don't spend much time focusing on it. Although a couple of the students we have in Eva 1 say they do that in school, like in Form 3 and things, which I think is important to do. The sets is a very important topic. Right? Okay, this one is the next, is a very topic-specific question. And if you haven't done sets in a while, you probably won't know the answer. If you do, that's great, right? If Q is the set of the elements A, B, C, how many subsets can be obtained from the set Q? Now, a subset is like a smaller set within the larger set, right? So you could say A, B, C. You could say AB, AC, BC, and then make it done. But every set is a subset of itself. Just like how every number is a factor of itself. And also, the empty set, which is the set that has no elements, is a subset of every set. I don't understand why, but you know like how 1 is a factor of every number? Same thing there, right? So again, you can list them out, right? So from ABC, you could have single sets, each containing a single element. So just A, B, C. And you can have the 2 element sets, AB, BC, and then AC, and you can have the set itself, ABC, and then of course the empty set, which you could have as nothing between the brackets, or you could put a 0 with a stroke through it. As 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's an easier way to do this. The number of subsets from any given set is always 2 raised to the power of n, where n is the number of elements in the set, and the elements are the items in the set. How many elements here? 1, 2, 3. So in this case it would be 2 to the power 3, which is of course 2 by 2 by 2. 2 by 2 is 4, and 4 by 2 is 8. But we didn't even need that, we just needed 2 to the power 3. Right, so the number of subsets from any given set is always 2 to the power of n, where n is the number of elements in the set. Evening TikTok, how y'all doing? Good to see you all back on. Timothy, 8D, that's correct, yeah. Right, that's it, 9 and 10. The set of positive integers is an example of a finite set. So a finite set, what's a finite set? He says that set is only finite 9. I said no. A finite set is a set with a countable number of elements, right? Even if it's a million, it's still countable, it's still finite, right? An empty set is a set with no elements. Positive integers, I mean we could start from 1, 2, 3 and then keep counting. But would that set ever end? Would the positive whole numbers ever end? No. So therefore, so then if it doesn't end, is it finite or infinite? It's infinite. Right? I'm not even sure what an improper set is, if that's actually a thing or just something they made up to fool people. Alright. And number 10. Oh, okay. So this, again, this hit the sets hard on paper 1. So the number of elements in U, which is the universal set, is 25. The number of elements in A is 14, number in B is 15. But this here, the number of elements in A intersect B is 6. So then the only number of elements in A union B. Okay. So a diagram helps. Right? So U is the universal set. We have set A. Right? So we have set A, we have set B. Now, the number of elements in A is 40. So the whole circle of A is 14, including what we call the intersection. The place where A and B overlap, that's called the intersection. The number of elements in B is 15. Right? So you might think, okay, well 14 and 15 is 29, but 29 plus 6 is 35. And we only have 25 elements. So right away, 14 and 15 is more than the total universal set. Which of course don't make sense, but when you consider that we have an overlap, we have an intersection. Right? So then the number of people who are what we call A only is actually 14 minus the 6, which is equal to 8. And the number in B only is 15 minus the 6, which is equal to 9. So if we add 8 and 6 and 9, we get 23. Right? The other way to do this is to say, okay, the number of elements in A union B is equal to the number of elements in A plus the number of elements in B minus the number of elements in A intersect B. So that's 14 plus 50, which is 29. 29 minus 6 is 23. So however you slice it, we get the same value of 23. Actually, I have 2 new students from other schools from Form 4, and a fellow called David, he was on RS, he was in some background. David, Farang, and Anya Wong. informed for one. Let's see all mine. Huh? Nope. She saw me do all the complexion. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Andre. Okay, cool. Alright. In class, people, are we okay with 6 to 10? Don't need me to go over any of them? Any problems, anything? Alright. Liam and Logan, you know the drill. If you're good with that, give me a quick genie chat, please and thanks. Okay, cool. Alright. So we have more sets here. Okay, in this case, the shaded region. So you have a diagram like the previous one I did, and you have P and Q and they overlap or intersect. But everything, what is the only piece of this diagram that is not shaded? P. So the shaded region represents what we call P complement. Right? The complement of a set is everything other than it. So for example, if I gave you, like, okay, if you roll out a fair six-sided die, you have, what's the numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we could separate them into odds and evens. What are the odd numbers? 1, 3, 5. What are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6. Right? The complement of the odds is the evens. The complement of the evens is the odds. Alright? So the shaded region is P complement. The 30 students in teacher May's class have either a dog or a cat or none. Either a dog or a cat or none. 16 students have a dog, 12 have a cat, and the remainder have neither a cat nor a dog. Which of the Venn diagrams below correctly shows information? Okay, they either have a cat or a dog or neither of them. So they don't have both. So what is the only diagram here where there's no overlap? D. So you either have a dog, 16 people have dogs, 12 have cats, 16 and 12 is 28, and then you have the remainder, which is 2, right? Of the 30, if 28 people have either a cat or a dog, 2 have neither. So that's D. Alright, cool. Alright, next page. Okay. At a bank, EC 260 is equivalent to US $1. For every dollar exchange, EC $10, 10 cents, is deducted as an exchange fee. How many EC dollars will Leon receive if he exchanges everything, right? 100 US. Okay, so check this, right? For every dollar Leon exchanges, he gets 260 but minus 10, right? So if you do 260 minus the 10 cents, he's getting a net of $2.50 EC, right? So if every US dollar gives him $2.50, right? If it's 100 US he's exchanging, he get 100 times that. That's correct. So I've seen some correct responses on TikTok and YouTube there. Very good, guys. Okay, next. Hey, look at our accounts question, boy. If 7,000 is borrowed at the rate of 5% per annum for 3 years, the simple interest is. Alright, so what's the formula for that? Principal by rate by time. Alright, so you can knock off the 2 zeros here and there. 70 by 5 is 350, and 350 by 3. Alright, so you have 900 plus 150, which is 1,050. Sorry. Yeah, 1,050. Miss D. Lulu, sorry. Yes, afterwards by about 8:30 or so. But yeah, live there too. Alright, here we go. 15 and 16. A dress which costs $180 is being sold at a discount of 10%. The amount of the discount, okay, so just the amount of discount, so that's just 10% of 180. which is simply $18, right? So we're in some consumer arithmetic here, guys. You can see? Yes. Alright, an article bought for $125 was sold for $175. The profit as a percentage of the cost price. So first of all, to get profit, you'll take your selling price and minus your cost price. And you're going to express that as a percentage of your cost price. We can divide by 25. 25 into 50 was 2 times. 25 into 125 is 5. 5 will go into 100 20 times, and 2 by 20 will simply give us 40. Okay, alright, in class people, are we okay with 13 to 16? That first column, that side there? Sorry? Which one? If you have a question number, there's no problem. We have time. I'll look it up. You okay? Or you may do something? Which one? 16? Okay. So they said that an article bought for $125 was sold for $175. They want the profit as a percentage of the cost price. The first thing to do is to calculate profit. Profit is selling price minus cost price. So 175 minus 125 is 50. And then you want to express that as a percentage of your cost price. So then you have some cancelling to do. You can divide by 5 first, you can divide by 25, no matter. Alright, but you okay with it? 170, right, yeah. Alright, Liam and Logan, just give me a quick G with that column there, please. Who's that? There's Lee. Alright, Nayeli, AdMaths, actually I have my assistant organizing the AdMaths. And nobody turned up to class. I want to, again, I badly want to do AdMaths whole day with all it, but unfortunately that's just, time just does not permit. But let me see if I could open up some, what you call it, some past recordings for you all. Anyhow, right, thanks guys. The value of a plot of land is $18,000. Land tax is charged at a rate of 70 cents per $100 of value. So it's not 70% of the whole thing, it's 70 cents for every $100. What is the total amount of tax paid for the land? Okay, so the first protocol here is the total value of the land is 18,000. We want to know how many hundreds inside of that, because we are paying 70 cents on every $100. So if we have $18,000, to find out how many hundreds we have to divide, that'll give us 180. And then what we'll do is we'll multiply that by 0.7 because it's 70 cents or 70% of that. Right? So that's like 18 by 7. So 126. Nayeli DM me. I need to organize that fair. If that's the case. The only one I wouldn't have done would be 2024, but I'll see if I can do a live for you. Go over there again? Alright, cool. Right. So the value of a plot of land is 18,000 and tax is charged at a rate of 70 cents per $100 of value. What is the total amount of tax paid for the land? So we're paying 70 cents on every $100 of value. Land is worth $18,000. So if we take 18,000 and divide by 10, we get 180, not dollars, but 180 hundreds, right? And then what we do is we're going to multiply that by 0.7. Right, Timothy, okay. Okay, next one. If the simple interest on 900 for 3 years was 108, what was the rate of interest? And the rate of interest is an annual thing. It's a per annum thing. All right. Check it. If the interest over the 3 years was $108, it means every year you got $36 worth of interest. And then what we could do thereafter is take your 36 and find what percent it is of 900, which is the principal amount you invested. And interestingly enough, as a simple division, and we get 4. So the answer is 4%. Riri, I hope you understood the previous one, right? Okay. At the end of any year, a car is worth 5% less than it was at the beginning of the year. Okay, good. Happy to hear that, Riri. If a car is worth 9,500 in December 2016, then its value in January, which is the start of that same year, was, okay, this is interesting. Jules, yeah, plenty repeats. So you should do at least 5 years worth. If you could do 10, better yet. Alright? Okay, so normally what we would do, oh sorry, no. Alright, so for the accounting people among us, this is depreciation, right? But for the math people among us, this is depreciation. Same thing, right? So normally what you would do is you find 5% of whatever the value at start is and subtract it. And that means you'll be left with, when you subtract it, you're left with the value at n. Now you have a few different ways you can work this out, right? One way is you could actually find 5% of each of these values and then subtract it and see which one gives you 9,500. The easiest one to start with would be the 10,000, which actually is the answer, right? But consider this. If I take 5% away from a whole, what percentage is a whole? What percent is the whole? 100%. So if my value at start is 100% and I subtract 5%, what percentage am I left with? 95%, right? So what we're saying is that this 9,500 is equal to 95% of the value at start. So 95% multiplied by, let's just call it VS for value at start, will give us the VE, value at n, which is the 9,500, right? So to find the value at start, I could basically, as I say, carry that to the next side. So what operation is it here? Multiply, so I'll divide. So that's 9,500 divided by 95%. Well, 95% is 95 over 100, right guys? But when we're dividing by fractions, what's the protocol? You change divisor and you invert the divisor. Now you might get frightened and say, but Chris, how was I supposed to multiply this? This is big numbers. But check this. 95 could go into 9,500 how many times? 100. And then 100 by 100 is just 10,000. Alright? Yeah, that's correct. Rosemary. How are you doing, Rosemary? Alright, yes. So don't let the numbers frighten you guys, but same thing. What I would suggest is, if a question given you too much trouble, leave it and come back to it. Each of these questions is worth only 0.5% of your final mark. Now you don't want to leave out a whole set because it adds up. Right? If you leave out one in the whole paper and you answer all 59, and let me say you get 56 correct, and that's still cool. Right? But don't leave out 20-something questions. Alright? Even if you had a guess, right? If it's a 1 out of 4 chance, what percentage is that? 25%, right? If you don't guess anything, what chance you have of getting it right? 0. What do you rather? A 0% chance of getting it right? Or a 25% chance of getting it right? 25% chance. If you can eliminate one of them, now you have a 1 in 3 chance, which is 33%. Right? If you eliminate 2, and you don't know which one is the last 2, still guess, you have a percentage. 50%. Right? 50% better than 0. Alright? Okay. Alright, number 20 now. A man's regular pay is $3 per hour up to 40 hours. Okay? Overtime is twice the payment for regular time. Oops, sorry, I forgot to change back to my. Overtime is twice the payment for regular time. So the regular time payment is $3 per hour, right? What's twice that? $6. So $6 is the overtime rate. If he was paid $2.16, how many hours of overtime did he work? So they flip it on you. You figure, oh, they'll give me the number of hours, which would be like 50, then 40, and that is regular, so 10 is overtime. They have backwards working to do. Okay, so he was paid $2.16, right? Alright, check. They want to know how many hours of overtime he worked. Alright, back to the first sentence. His regular rate of pay is how much? $3 per hour. Up to how many hours? 40. So if you take, oops, sorry. What's going on there? Right. So if you take the $3 per hour and multiply by 40 hours. What we get? $120, right? So if you compare that to 216, right? If you say, okay, if I earn 216 in total, and out of that 216, 120 is regular, it means $96 was overtime, right? So that's overtime. So what would I then do? I would take my $96 of overtime and divide by $6 per hour, and that will give me $16. Right? Well, if the part of the process that you are having trouble with is the arithmetic and the mental calculation, tell me, and I'll see how I can help you. Right? If I have lots of little tricks I could show you. Right? Okay. So we at the 1/3 mark to the paper, so we'll take a little 1 minute to 2 minute break just to clear the brains. Right? If you want to continue working, feel free. But before I take my break, are we okay with this column here, ladies and gents, 17 to 20? Do you have any questions on any of the items there? You need to rework, re-explain anything? No? Okay. Liam and Logan, you know the drill. If you guys are good with that, give me a G in chat. If you need me to re-explain any, every or many, give me a R. Alright, cool. Alright. Could you show it from Riri? Aye, good. Alright. Please zoom out so I can take a picture. Alright. Hold on. Alright, listen, let me answer a question real quickly here. Hey guys, okay. Some people asking just to see the solution real fast. Alright. For this page 1, I'll give you a couple of seconds. Hi, yeah, the multiple choice paper. Yeah, sure, you could write that in pen, pencil, no matter. Once you use pencil, the shading pencils. But yeah, if you're marking on stuff on the paper, that's actually a technique that I had used when I was doing Form 6 multiple choice back in the day, over 25 years ago. Yeah, back in the day, we don't know how to do these things. Anyhow, yeah, so you can do that. Alright, zoom in. Zoom into which one? Stacey Ann. Here we go, guys. It'll be up on YouTube afterwards now. So you can just go back and check it. Whoa, what is this up here? Oops, sorry. 1 to 10. We probably just got that, so this is more here too. Alright. Let me start because we have a little less than an hour again and we have a good pace going, eh? Alright, so let's go. So 1 over 5x plus 2 over 3x. So we know the drill when we have fractions, right? We have to multiply we have to have a common denominator. The easiest thing is to multiply by it. So 5x by 3x is what? 15x squared. Now you can do that, right? But you don't actually have to multiply the x's because 15x would be fine. Alright, so I was wondering they were right. So right away we can eliminate a and b because it's not 8x or 8x squared. Right? I'm pretty sure it's d, but let's just double check to make sure, right? So of course we multiply each numerator by the opposite denominator. So 3x by 1 is 3x, 2 by 5x is 10x. Now That's all over 15x squared, right? Now that's going to give us 13x over 15x squared. And x will cancel with x squared, giving us 13 over 15x. So D is the answer. Alright, 7 times the product of two numbers, A and B. 7 times the product of two numbers. Product is what operation? Addition. No. Multiplication. So 7 times A multiplied by B will just be 7AB. Right? When no operation is understood, multiplication is understood. When no operation is explicit, multiplication is understood. So Kenny, very good. Yeah. Alright, lovely. Yep, they have plenty of questions and plenty of papers you'll see repeating. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay. What is the value of that if x is equal to 4? Okay, so it's a simple substitution, right? So x squared, so that's going to give us 4 squared. So 3y is 3 by 2 all over xy, which is just 4 by 2, right? So 4 squared is 16, 3 by 2 is 6, 4 by 2 is 8. So that's 22 over 8. If you cancel down with 2, you'll get 11 over 4, which is 2 and 3/4 when you can do it to a mixed number. I can, yeah. There you go. And Stacy on, very good. Alright. Aha, right, check this. I'll show you a couple of ways to solve this one, right? So we could use distributive law. What's 5 by 2x? 10x. What's 5 by 1? 5. So 10x minus 5 is 35, right? So you can use the usual thing. So first things first is we'll add 5 on both sides of the equation. What is 35 plus 5? That's 40. And then we'll divide by 10. Yeah? So x had to be equal to 4. Check the other way you can do it, right? Now again, it's just optional given you. So you start up by saying 5, open brackets, 2x minus 1 is 35. When you have no operation explicit, what operation is understood? Multiplication, right? So this statement is saying 5 multiplied by something is 35. Who knows the 5 times tables? 5 by what is 35? 7. So 2x minus 1 is equal to 7. So 2x something minus 1 is 7. What's the only number from which you can minus 1 and get 7? 8. So 2x had to be equal to 8. So that means 2 multiplied by something is 8. That something could only ever be 4. Alright, so I have different ways to approach it. John has X marbles and Max has twice as many as John. So John has X marbles, Max has twice as many, that's 2x. If Max gives John 5 of his marbles, how many marbles does John now have? If Max gives John 5, and they ask how many John now has, right? That's x plus 5. Right? Now again, if the algebra given you trouble, use numbers. Right? You could use 10 in whatever cases. If Max gives John 5, yeah? So John will have more than he had before. If he had x, it will be x plus something. Alright? Vibes. Not like vibes. Alright? John has x. Max has twice as many. Right? And Max gives John 5. So you're taking 5 from Max and giving it to John. So John had x, and he gets 5. So it's just x plus 5. Alright? Which one? All? Alright. Okay, Riri, I'm glad to hear that. I may have a problem.
Chris, I know we thought 22 would have been
So if it was the sum of A and B, then it would be correct. What is the product? The product means multiply. Okay now? This one's ready. Do over 24. Alright. Hold on one sec, right? how we first did 24 by usual x, so 5 by x, 5 by 2x, sorry, was 10x. 5 by minus 1 was minus 5. Now it's equal to 35. So to solve for x, you have to remove everything currently attached to the x. So we start with minus 5. The opposite of minus is addition. So you add 5 to both sides of the equation. Sorry, that's not 5. So 10x will therefore be equal to 40. And to solve for x, you'd have to divide by 10 on both sides of the equation. And 40 divided by 10 is 4. Alright. Kenya, yes. Amisha. Alright. Too much thinking. Well, that's what you're supposed to use your brain for. But I agree, if it seems excessive. Alright, so in 26, A is 6, A multiplied by B is 6, and A squared minus B squared. I can see the overthinkers. So check this. If I take A, B and divide by A, what will happen? A's will cancel and that will leave me with B. So if I take 6 and divide by 3, I'll get 2. So the value of B is 2. So if A is 2, sorry, if A is 3, I have 3 squared. If B is 2, I have 2 squared. So I have 9 minus 4, and that's equal to 5. TTCR, this is the 2021 May. For which one? 26? No, the answer is 5. This here is B. Do it over, sir. Alright. So I'm trying to erase this thing. It's not letting me erase, so I'm just gonna just do this, right? Right. A is equal to 3 and A multiplied by B is 6. So what it's saying here, if you consider A is 3, this is 3B is equal to 6. So therefore to find B, you can simply divide by 3 on both sides, giving us a value of 2. Now, they want to know what is A squared minus B squared. A is 3, so we have 3 squared. We just found out B is, so that's 2 squared. 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4, 9 minus 4 is 5. Alright? And then I have another difference. Yeah, you could use the difference of 2 squares. You could do A plus B multiplied by A minus B. Alright, so A was 3, B was 2. 3 plus 2 is 5, and 3 minus 2 is 1. And 5 by 1 is just equal to 5. Okay, you get it now? Alright, cool. It does leave. Alright, thank you. Alright, if A is that, then the order. So the order of a matrix is a way of describing it by identifying the number of rows and the number of columns. So how many lines I have going across? 3. And how many are going down? 4. So 3 by 4. Okay. Alright. Okay. Ladies and gents in class, are we okay with 21 to 27? Any questions, anybody, anything? Marcus, you writing this stuff down?
Yeah.
Alright, Liam, Logan, just give me a quick genie chat now. You want to look at that, please, on that. Alright, cool, thank you. Alright, going again. 22. Amisha, I have a playlist on my YouTube channel with the basics of matrices: addition, subtraction, scalar multiplication, matrix multiplication, finding the inverse, and solving simultaneous equations with it. So check it out, no? Yeah, row goes across and column goes down, that's correct. Hey, Preeta B, you on this side today? Alright. 25. Alright, check it. Anytime stuff like that giving you all trouble, use actual numbers, right? Let me say John had 10 moms. Max has twice as many as John, which is 20. And then Max gives John 5. If Max gives John 5, John will now have 10 plus 5, and Max will have 20 minus 5. Alright, so again, we just using numbers to facilitate. YouTube channel name, same as John, adaptivation. Right, so it's x plus 5. So John, they want to know how many John has, what is x plus 5? 27. Okay. Shema, that was okay. Alright, 28. The determinant of the identity matrix. Okay, so the identity matrix is the matrix. A 2 by 2 version is 1, 0, 0, 1. Alright, so to find the determinant, you have to multiply these two together. So we have 1 multiplied by 1 minus 0 by 0. 1 by 1 is 1. 0 by 0 is 0. And 1 minus 0 is 1. So the determinant is 1. If the vectors p and q are that, respectively, then p minus 2q. Okay, so p minus 2q will be 3, 2 minus 2 by minus 1, 4. So we multiply that 2 by both of the components of that vector. Right, so the first vector stays the same, so you have 3, 2. Sorry, keep forgetting using square brackets. Come to man, Philip. Right, that's fine. 2 by minus 1 is minus 2, 2 by 4 is 8. And when you subtract or add vectors, you add or subtract the corresponding components. So the horizontals are on top, so you have 3 minus minus 2, sorry. And you have 2 minus 8. 3 minus minus 2 is equal to 3 plus 2. And of course you have 2 minus 8 is equal to 3 plus 2 of course as we know is 5. 2 minus 8 is minus 6. So that's option D, looks like. Dex, you can do that too. Item 33 refers to the following diagram of triangle OLM, in which R is the midpoint of OL and T is the midpoint of OM. Further, OR is A and OT is B. RM expressed in terms of A and B is. Can I go over which one? Amisha. Okay, right? One sec. Amisha? You know Amisha? Oh. Can I say hi? Amisha says hi. Right, item 33 refers to the following diagram of OL, right? Okay, so R is the midpoint. So what does, oh no, come to man to do that. Right. Right, what does a midpoint do to a line? It cuts it exactly in half. So this half here and this half here are equal. Right? And if the vector to go from O to R is given by small a, right, then this other section here to go from R to L is also going to be A. Right? I'm putting arrows to indicate direction of travel. T is the midpoint of OM, so it means that OT and TM are also equal. So if to go from O to T is given by vector B, to go from T to M is also going to be small b. Now they want RM. So they want to go from point R to point M. Now you might say, well, you can go from R to L and then L to M. But we have no vector along this line here. We could only travel along the lines where you have vectors. I see we're doing the May 2021 paper 1 for maths. We just about halfway through. But you could always rewind the live and check it out. Right? But it's still for the rest. And you could, I'll tell you because I wasn't able to start on time. We're about exactly 54 minutes in. Alright, so you could watch before the 54 minutes. Alright, okay, so if we can only travel along where we have vectors, we either go from R to O and then from O to M. Right, or you could say R to O, O to T, and T to M. So to go from R to M, follow your big letters. We either go from R to O, and from O to T, and then from T to M. Now to go from R to O is going in this direction, which is the opposite of that direction. So we actually have to indicate that it is the inverse of OR. So when you put a minus sign in front of a vector, you're indicating you're traveling in the opposite direction. You are inverting the vector. Right? All that happens is that you put a minus sign in front of it, and whatever components it had will take the opposite signs of what they originally had. Right, so minus OR is minus small a. So go from O to T is B, and to T to M is also B. So you have minus A, and B plus B is 2B, and you could rearrange that to say 2B minus A. Right? So sorry, that's option A. Right, so we're just about halfway through the paper. Right, so we won't take a break. I just want to drink a little bit of water. Stay kind of hydrated. Because yeah, I wasn't doing that well with that a couple weeks ago. Okay. Alright, somebody asked about 29. Amisha, was it 29 you were asking about? TikTok is lit up. Hey, Leslie, thanks very much for the gifts, man. I appreciate it. Which one, Amisha, the vectors one? Yeah, vectors can be a bit confusing if you don't grasp the initial part of it. Alright? Alright, give me a second. Just finish this page, right? But I'll do 29 just now, right? Okay, given that 1 millimeter is 1/1000th of a meter, 2500 millimeters in meters, right? Is 2500 multiplied by 1/1000, which is the same as 2500 divided by 1000. And when we divide by 1000, you simply shift the decimal point as many places to the left as there are zeros. So very good, 2.5. Right? How many kilograms are there in 1 ton? I don't know. Right? I didn't know that. I thought it was 10,000, so I just googled it. To be honest. All right. Thanks, Andre. All right, cool. All right. Item 33 follows. Refers to the following diagram of a trapezium PQRS. Okay. The area of a trapezium is a half of the sum of the parallel sides. So I'll highlight the parallel sides in yellow. So 1/2 of the sum of those parallel sides. Right? So let's just call this side A and side B. And this vertical height is also called the distance, or H for height. So the area is a half of A plus B, 1/2 the sum of the parallel sides, or the average of their length, multiplied by the perpendicular distance between them. Right, so that's a half of 8 plus 18, then by 5. 8 plus 18 is 26, a half of 26 is 13, 13 by 5 is 65. At a party, a number of guests were served 15 liters of champagne. Each guest had 2 glasses of champagne, and each glass held 150 milliliters. Assuming no spillage, how many guests were at the party? Right. They bring this one, but they vary what they ask for. So sometimes they'll give you the number of guests, but ask you how much champagne in total. Here they do the opposite. Okay. So a number of guests were served 15 liters of champagne in total. Each guest had 2 glasses of champagne. Each glass held 150 ml. So each guest in total drank 300 ml of champagne. There was a total of 15 liters, which we could convert to 15,000 ml. Because as we saw above, right, that was millimeters, right? But liters and milliliters is the same as meters and millimeters, right? Okay, so what we'll do is simply take the total number of milliliters and divide by the number of milliliters each guest had. So you can knock off 2 zeros, and then 3 into 150 will go 50 times. So this is C. Alright. Amisha, I'll do 29 now. Let me just check for this page. Alright, Liam and Logan, just give them a quick G if you guys go with this page. Please answer. Right, if you need me to rework. Yeah, question. Okay. Alright. In class, people, are we okay with what's on the screen? Well, this page, anything on this page I want to rework? Alright. Okay, well, somebody asked for 29. So I'll do that real quick, right? Okay, so this is vector P here, and this is vector Q here. They want P minus 2Q. Alright, so this is P, and we have to minus 2 multiplied by minus 1, 4. So if we multiply the 2 on the outside by each of the components on the inside, sorry, one sec. Alright, so 2 by minus 1 is minus 2, and 2 by 4 is 8. And then when you're subtracting, you subtract the corresponding elements. Horizontal minus horizontal, and vertical minus vertical. So when you do 3 minus minus 2, you get 3 plus 2. And you have 2 minus 8. Alright? And 3 plus 2 is 5, and 2 minus 8 is minus 6. Alright, but we had a move ahead. Alright, cool. Shema. The perimeter of a square is 56 centimeters. What is its area in centimeters squared? The perimeter is the total distance around, and since it's a square, all the sides are equal in length. So 4 multiplied by s is 56. To find s, we'll take 56 and divide by 4, which will give us 14 centimeters. And the area of a square is side squared, which is 14 by 14, which is 196. Right? Even if you didn't know what 14 squared was, look at the last digit, 4 by 4. 4 by 4 is 16. So anything that ends in a 6, ends in a 4 or a 6, if you square it, your answer would end in a 6. So the only option ending in a 6 was 35. Right, circumference of a circle is 154, given that pi is that, the diameter is, okay, so circumference is equal to pi multiplied by diameter. Therefore, to find diameter, we have to remove the pi. How is it attached? Multiplication. How do we remove something attached to multiplication? We use division, the opposite operation. So the diameter is equal to 154 divided by 22 over 7. Now what's the protocol for when you're dividing fractions, ladies and gents? You change divisor, multiply, and invert the divisor. 22 will go into 154 7 times, and 7 by 7 is 49. Very good, Rosemary. Alright, one second. Oh wow, that is a good one. When you're ready. Right. Item 37 refers to the following diagram, which consists of a triangle resting on a square of side 7 centimeters. So 7 is there. Oh, sorry. I'm going to change back on the small one. Oh, is it lock already? Oh, okay. Let me hurry a little bit. Okay, sorry. I will try to start on time tomorrow for sure. Does the questions repeat? Yes. Yes, they do. Oh, I didn't notice. I don't know. Right. If the total area of the diagram is 63 square centimeters, what is the value of the height? So the total area would be the area of the triangle plus area of the square. Not so? Area of the square is side by side. 7 by 7 is 49. If the total area is 63, the area of the triangle is 63 minus 49, which is 14. Right. Now, the base of the triangle is actually the same as the side of the square, which is 7. Now the area of a triangle, as we know, is base by height over 2. Now we don't know what the height is, that's what we're looking for, right? But we know the base. So 7 by height over 2 is equal to 14. So if you multiply by 2 on both sides to clear the denominator, 14 by 2 is 28. And to solve for 8, we'd simply divide by 7 on both sides. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. Oh, you hear me? Yeah, are they like night? Alright. Yeah, so the answer is 4. Okay. Yeah, so some of these questions have the word Shrek. They have layers, you know, like onions. So you had to think through. Right? Some of them, as we can see, some of them require practically no thinking. Some of them require a lot more than you might have bargained for, but that's just part of it. Right? Okay. On leaving Trinidad, the time on the pilot's watch was 2300 hours, 11 p.m. When he arrived at his destination in the same time zone on the next day, his watch showed 300 hours, or 3 hours. As 3 a.m., how many hours did the flight take? Okay, so 11 p.m. to 12 a.m., that's midnight, then to 1 a.m., then to 2 a.m., then to 3 a.m. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4. Very good hearts. Ms. Clark arranged the 15 test scores of her students in order of size and selected the 8th score for reporting purposes. Which of the following statistical measures did Ms. Clark obtain? That is the median. Right? So if you had 15 items, right? You could have items 1 to 7, and you have the 8th item, and items 9 to 14. Right? This here is 7 items. This here is also 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 15. Yeah, sorry. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 7. Alright, so you have, so the median is the data point that cuts the data set into 2 equal halves. Alright? Okay. Alright, Liam and Logan, just give me a quick G in the chat if you guys good with this page, please and thanks. If you need me to re-explain anything, many things, everything, give me a R, give me a number, numbers. Right, alright. In class people, are we okay with this page? Yeah, alright, cool. Alright, let's go. Alright, so we're just about 2/3 of the way through the paper. We have just about 20 minutes to go. Items 40 and 41 refer to the following diagram, which shows a cumulative frequency curve based on the marks of 200 students who took a driving test. Okay. Median marks scored by the 200 students is, okay, so the median mark will be the mark obtained by the 100th person. Right? What is the median? The halfway point. If it's 200 people, half of that is just 100. Now what is group data, like what it is here for CF curve? You can just divide by 2, right? So between 80 and 120, that's what the 100 is. We hit the curve, and then we'll go down with the cruise, go down. No, that. Right, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. So that's 37.5. Hey, we're on point. Okay, I guess you're not on point. And the highest mark scored in the test was, yeah, 60. Right, as a 2, what did 2 other person got? Alright, cool. Rosemary. Alright, no problem. Do your thing. I'll give you that. 42 to 46 now. In a box, there are 8 red, 7 blue, and 6 can be back over blues. Which one? The highest mark? Well, these are the marks here, right? The highest mark is 60, and as you can see, the curve went there. So it just read down. Right. In a box, there are 8 red, 7 blue, and 6 green. 1 marble is picked at random. What is the probability that it is neither blue nor green? If it is not blue or green, what could it only? What was the only possible? Red. So we can have 8 red items out of how much? 8 and 7 is 15. 15 and 6 is 21, right? There you go. Hey Peter B, you on TikTok now? Alright, cool. Look at pie chart, boy. Item 43 refers to the following pie chart, which shows the popular games played by 720 students. How many students play cricket? Okay, so a pie chart occupies a circle. A circle has how many degrees in total? 360. So this shape in football is how many degrees? Sorry, 90. You have 36, and this one is 30%. The 30% of 360 is equal to 108. So your angle here is 108 degrees. So to find the number of the cricket, we need the angle here, right, the theta, which we'll then put over 360 degrees and multiplied by the total number of students. Right? So to find the theta, we'll take 360 and minus the sum of the other angles that we have, right? So 90 plus 108 plus 36. 108 and 36 is 144, 144 and 90 is 234. 234 from, sorry, I thought it. Is 126. Right, so you have 126 degrees, right? So you have 126 degrees over 360 multiplied by 720. As luck, sorry, not degrees. As luck would have it, 360 and 720 will cancel, and 126 by 2 is 252. Alright, so yeah, this one was interesting. Because they're lacking creativity as to how to give you questions. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't bad. Alright, item 44 refers to the following two-way table, which shows the mode of transportation to school on a particular day for a group of 200 students. Right? So when they say a two-way table, so if you add going across, right, you get total male, total female, and when you add going down, you get 200, right? And then on top of that, if you add the bus number, you get total taxi, total walk. And when you add going across, you also get the same 200. Right, a male student is picked at random from the group. What is the probability he does not walk to school that day? If he doesn't walk to school, he either takes the bus or takes a taxi. Right? So that total number there is 80. Right? 30 and 50 is 80. And it's a male student, and you have 108 male students, right? 4 into 80 goes 20 times, and 4 into 108 goes 27 times. Yeah, I know plenty of people want to put the 80 over the 200. And initially that's what I did too, and then a friend of if they had worded it different, like if they said what is the probability, sorry, a student is selected at random. What is the probability he is male and did not walk to school that day? Okay, that's 44. 45. The point where a linear function crosses the horizontal axis so your vertical is your y, your horizontal is your x, and the point where it crosses the horizontal axis, right, is either called your roots or your x-intercept. Where it cuts the y-axis is the y-intercept. The equation of the line which passes through the point 0, 5 and has a gradient of 4 is right. The equation of a straight line can be given in the form y equal to m by x plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept will have a corresponding x-coordinate of 0 because the y-intercept is on the y-axis. And at every point on the y-axis, no matter how far up or down you go, your x-coordinate is always 0. So 4x plus 5. And that's option C.
So where is Rose?
Right. Right, Liam and Logan, just kindly give me a quick G in the chat if you give me this page. If you need me to re-explain anything, please give me an R. Okay. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to say, up since about 17 half, 3 and a half hours this morning. Have not napped. Actually, I've copied it for the first 2.5 weeks. So I think that's enough me good. Alright, here we go. Sorry, in class people, do you have any question on this page? Okay. Alright, which of the following graphs represent a linear function? Okay, so first things first, see that word linear? That means if you plot it, you get a straight line, not a curve. So which of these can we eliminate right away? We could eliminate C and D, right? C is a function, D is as well, but they have a curved aspect to them. So since they are curved, they are non-linear, right? Now A is the answer. Now there is actually a test we can do called the vertical line test. If you were to draw a vertical line like this, vertical lines, and they hit the function, they hit the relation at one and only one point, then we know it's a function. If we draw a vertical line and it touches at 2 points, or in this case at the entire line, that's not a function. Alright, 47A. Alright, this one a little difficult to see. Let me see if I can make it not so difficult to see. The coordinates of the turning point of the function are, right, the turning point of the function is that maximum point there, which has an x coordinate of 4 and a y, an x coordinate of 2 and a y coordinate of 4. So 2, 4. It's 40, very good. Juju and Nia. And yeah. in class, people, are we okay with 47, 48? A line L is parallel to the line 3x minus 7y minus 9 is equal to 0. What is the gradient? So to extract the gradient, we need to put the line in the form y equal to m by x plus c. Right? So what we could do, let's carry across the minus 7y to the next side now. And then what will happen is it will become positive. So you'll end up with 3x minus 9 is equal to 7y. So 7y is equal to 3x minus 9. And then we want to remove the 7. It's attached to the y by multiplication. To remove anything attached by multiplication, we have to use the opposite operation, which is division. So we'll divide each of these sides, everything on both sides by 7. Now, m is the gradient, and it's the coefficient of the x2. And you can put all these 3 7s as the coefficient of x. And that is just going to give us option C. Right, g of x is 7x minus 3 all over 5. G of minus 6 is. So 7 by minus 6 minus 3 all over 5. 7 by minus 6 is minus 42, then minus 3. That's going to give us minus 45 over 5, which is minus 9. Item 51 refers to the following arrow diagram which shows a function f. So 2 connects to 5, 5 connects to 8, 8 to 11. Which of the following best describes the function? X plus 3. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 3 is 11, 11 plus 3 is 14. Alright guys, the last 10 questions here, last 9 actually. So this is actually a little blurry. So it says the range of f of x is x cubed for the domain that, okay, cool. So if you plug minus 2 inside of that, so minus 2 cubed is minus 2 by minus 2 by minus 2. What? Sorry? 50 was minus 9. Right, 7 by minus 6 is minus 42. Minus 42 minus 3 is minus 45. Okay, so, and this one here, you have to basically make y the subject of the formula. Yeah? Yeah? No problem. Right, so minus 2 cubed is minus 8. Wow, okay. Minus 1 cubed is minus 1 by minus 1 by minus 1, which in itself is minus 1. 0 to any power is 0, 1 to any power is 1, 2 to the power 3 is 8. So that's option D. Minus 8, minus 1, 0, 1. Item 53 refers to the following diagram of a transformation. Which of the following maps PQR onto P prime Q prime R prime as a reflection? Right, so you can imagine a mirror line in the middle. Imagine it was like a face. Right, and it had a hat on. Right, so reflection. In which of the following polygons does the sum of the measures of the interior angles equal the sum of the measure of the exterior as a polygon? Let me tell you one time. The measure of the exterior angles, alright, cool. Yeah, I mean it's 54, so you can always just watch like the last, I would say maybe last 10 minutes when you get home. Right, so that's one. right? So if the measure of the exterior angles is 360, if it's equal, right, to the measure of the interior angles, right? So what shapes you know with square, rectangle, which are all four-sided shapes? Well, are we okay with this page? Yeah. Okay, Liam and Logan, give a quick G for this page and all the others before that I didn't ask about. If you need me to rework anything, give me a R. Even if it's on a different page, just let me know, right? It's not a problem, I'll go back. Sorry. Okay, alright, good. Alright, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Item 55 refers to the following diagram of the straight line y equal to x. Okay. What is the image of this when it is rotated anti-clockwise through an angle of 90 degrees? So basically what you would get is this line here. And that line is y equal to minus x. That's something you kind of have to know. Item 56 refers to the following diagram of a translation. Alright, so the original line AB shifted to A prime B prime. Which of the following, in the diagram, the translation by which AB is mapped onto A prime B prime. Okay, check this, right? To go from A to A prime, we have to go from 2 to 4 on the x-axis. How much of a distance is 2 to 4? That's 2 units, right? 2 horizontals. And to go from 5 to 6, that's 1, right? So your translation vector here is simply 2, 1, right? Let's cross check. To go from 5 to 7, from B to B prime on the horizontal, that's also how many spaces? 2. And to go from 7 to 8, that's also 1. So your translation vector here is simply 2, 1, which is option B. What? Very good, TikTok. What do you think about it? Alright, that's that page. Alright guys, we're almost done. There's 4 more questions to go. We can do that. Item 57 refers to the following right angled triangle ABC. In the triangle, BAC is 30 degrees, AB, which is the hypotenuse, is 40 meters. Relative to 30, that side is opposite, which makes the baseline adjacent. That is that. The length BC. So the length BC, right, so that's opposite. So which trig ratio uses opposite and hypotenuse? Sine, very good. So sine of 30 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So to solve for BC, I'd have to remove the 40. It's currently a denominator, and we divide by denominator. So to remove that, we have to undo the division. To undo the division, I would use multiplication. So when you multiply 40 by that, you literally get 40 by sine 30. That's option. Right, now this is also one they switch up, because sometimes they might ask for AC. Sometimes they might give a different angle. So you have to know the basics of your trig formula, trig ratio, sorry. This will be a large sheet. Right, OAA prime and OCBC prime B prime are straight lines. Okay. Sorry, I tried fine. What is the scale factor? Okay, so to tell the scale factor, compare corresponding lengths. So like for example, AC was 2 units. A prime C prime is 4. So A prime C prime to AC is a ratio of 4 to 2. So that's 2. And you can check CB. CB is 1 unit and C prime B prime is 2. So C prime B prime to CB is 2 to 1, which is a scale factor of 2. Alright. Liam and Logan, just give me a check on these 2 pages, 55, 56, 57 and 58. Good? Alright, cool. Sorry, I'm now checking something in the chat here. What's 59? I'm going to do it now, yeah? I just finished 57. You okay with these two? Yeah? Alright. Alright, last two. A plane is flying in a direction of 045 degrees and changes course in a clockwise direction to 135. The angle through which the plane turns is 90 degrees. Let's take a look. So the plane was flying at 045 degrees, right? And it changes course in a clockwise direction to 135. So 135 is actually exactly halfway in those two. And the angle would be the difference between 135 and 45. See then, there's 90, is that correct? Yeah? I think you're not seeing all the chat, because I'm not seeing who. Oh, you said C. Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing it. Okay, cool. So that's B. Yeah, Juju, that's correct. Right, and last question. In a triangle PQR, angle P is equal to x degrees, angle Q is equal to QX, 2x. What is the size of angle R? Right, so what is the sum of all the angles in a triangle? 180. And if we have two of the angles in a triangle, how do we find the third? We add the two that we have together and then subtract it from 180. And x plus 2x is? Right. Okay, so folks, that's the May 2021 paper 1. Right, so again, we have a session tomorrow, 6:30. Friday, you all reminded me that you have exams that day, although a few people did say they will come in. And then Saturday, I have to confirm for Saturday, this even person will watch my son because he's sitting not coming on Saturday. And then Sunday, I don't know that I'll be able to get anyone to watch him. So yeah. So just so you know, the plan was actually to do four sessions this week. We might get 3. I'm hoping to get that 4. Alright, time tomorrow. Andrew, I aiming for 6:30. Stacey is the same as here, adapt tuition. Right, so today was the 28th, right? Okay, so I do have it penciled in here. I'll put it. Alright. Right, so we had a session here today. We have one tomorrow. So Friday is physics and Spanish, right after lunch. So, yeah. I mean, about 6 or 7% they were coming in. So if people come in, I'll have the session. And then, right, so Saturday, hopefully I can get a session with you guys. Sunday, I'm not sure. Again, it's just a matter of childcare. So Monday evening, right now I put like multiple sessions here, but I don't know that you all could come to any or all. So we'll just try to give it that one a day, right? So from Monday to Thursday, we'll just do a 6:30 to 8:30, with the possible exception on Thursday, we might have an extra session, right? Because English A is 10 to 12, right? So 9 to half 10, right? So we can start from 1, I think, yeah.
What are the times for Monday?
Just 6:30 to 8:30. I know I have 2 sessions on multiple days there, but we'll keep it simple, right?
Next over. Oh no, I was just wondering because it looks like the odd math was in between.
Yeah, well the art math is Mishka. Mishka having the art math session.
Oh, okay.
Because as you can see, those kids have their exam on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then thereafter, hopefully they'll rejoin us. Kenya, EDFM Spanish, woo, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Spanish is not good at all.
Yeah.
And I have history tomorrow.
Yeah, so the Monday and Tuesday and the Thursday, the 4 to 6 might be a bit difficult. The Wednesday I could try to do a 4 to 6. Yeah, if you guys want, like I said, Monday Mishka can't handle the maths class because she has advanced to do. Right. Yeah, guys. So I'll send out a couple of polls in the chat about Wednesday and Thursday if we could get a double session. But the 4 to 6 will be difficult on the Thursday. I have a accounts class that day. So we could do like a 1 to 3. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll find a way every year, but it's yeah. Folks, that's about it for this evening. Thanks for joining. Hopefully see you all tomorrow. We're doing 2022 tomorrow, hopefully 2023 Friday. And if we do 2024 this week, we'll do it next week. Alright, yeah. Alright, Liam and Logan, I'll go on there. If you guys have any questions and you get to ask, what's up, alright? Go on, later.
I know he just messaged me saying she forgot me.
Oh Lord.
That's nice. But yeah, Chris, you have to admit, we are your most entertaining class.
You haven't?
What other class are you split for?
I got flooders.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was
One, nah. The very first year, 2010 to 11, I was going to affect the Carnival Wednesday. And I was saying, I don't want to say yes. And one day he goes like, we got to warm for. So I said, well, I'm going to start just dropping into a split, so she nearly fought the balcony. That was fun. And then I did one, I think, to show Civi, because Civi went holy game. Well, she doesn't top of the hill now. The next street was, well, that's where her parents live. And when she was ballet. And then I did it, and she was like, she crushed it for me. I like, and I did it for one other class too.
like,
Yeah.
you used to take Nyla
Right.
Shimon Iron
Yeah, sure, I know. Yeah, true. In the July, August, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.